Haere mai, haere mai, haere mai. Tēnā koutou katoa. Today I'll be reading an article about a cultural anthropological study of Matariki tradition and the Maori New Year, written by Takao Miseyazato. Keywords is Matariki, Maori New Year, revitalization and cultural activator. And in the introduction, this paper focuses on Matariki and the Maori New Year. Matariki is a Maori term for the star cluster, the Pleiades, also known as Subaru in Japan, located in the star constellation Taurus. Matariki was once known as a mark of the Maori New Year in the astronomical knowledge, and the people had customs related to Matariki, and parallel to the increase of Westerners, Matariki-based customs, including the Maori New Year celebrations, gradually disappeared for most of the part. It was not to mention caused by cultural assimilation of the Maori toward the Western style. However, the Maori New Year celebration based on Matariki has begun to come back into life in some areas around the year 2000, despite people having adopted the Western calendar over 1.5 centuries. It is an occasion worthy of special mention in modern Asian society in which Eurocentric culture almost occupies. The most helpful account concerning the Maori star love, including Matariki, is said to be the works done by Alden Best, who was a notable ethnographer in the late 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century. In his books of such as The Astronomical Knowledge of the Maori, Genuine and Empirical, in 1986, first published in 1922, and The Maori Division of Time, Best 2022, first published in 1922. He mentions Pueblo concept of Matariki as well as Maori star love, its related customs based in the field work. According to his recognition, specific astronomical bodies were certainly worshipped by the Maori, with some ceremonies, and Matariki was one of the specific worshipped astronomical bodies, which Maori people carefully observed to know the seasons, to designate the new year, to determine the time of planting specific crop, and so on. However, best declared in the verbal data was not ample. After his work, not enough attention has been paid to the study for a long time. It is not until the revitalization of Maori New Year celebration appears in recent years, and some attention has been paid to. However, there still remains discussion over this topic. In this paper, the present writer deals with the comprehensive Mataiki concept and the revitalization of Maori New Year, mainly taking the following 3 points of consideration. 1. To review the traditional Matariki concept along with the formal cultural practices. 2. To discuss the revitalization of the Maori year. 3. To make clear today's Matariki concept. The field work was done at 2 locations in the North Island, the case of national project centered on the National Museum Te Papa in Wellington, the capital of New Zealand, close parenthesis. In the case of local travel projects in Hastings, a small town in Hawke's Bay area in the east, from late May to late June in 2005. The reason why the present writer visited there is a scale of 2 of these projects is greater than others, and they occupy a leading position. The research mainly depended on observations of those events and interviews of some organizers and participants. The framework of this paper is as follows. Chapter 2 refers to the interpretation of Matariki in traditional Maori cultural context. Chapter 3 is a description of the realization of the Maori year, observed in the fieldwork, and also inquires new aspects of Matariki concept. In Chapter 5, comprehensive analysis of done accompanied by illustrated Matariki concept, and cultural practices that the present writer includes in Chapter 5. Interpretation of Matariki 1. The interpretation of Matariki in traditional Maori cultural context. As the former Maori were ocean-going people, we're sure they had the knowledge of star navigation. Zera waka, they go, te waka, ki te maunga, te waka, ki te takotoa i te waka, i tauri amai, kora haka. After leaving New Zealand, they empirically developed star love to survive. Matariki was known as one of the most important astronomical bodies for the Maori, In this chapter, the present writer discusses interpretation and traditional cultural context. 1. Matariki as a marker of the Maori New Year. In many areas in New Zealand, Matariki played an important role to mark the Maori New Years in former days. The general definitions of the tue tamaike maue, ioe tue tamaike maue, ki tokoto, ki te tokoto, rangata koto ai piriti piriti, te mana aku ake. Ake. The general definition of the beginning of the Maori New Year is often presented in the remarks of Alton Best. He wrote, the old Maori year began with appearance, the first new moon, after Halako rising of Matariki. The term Halako rising shows an astronomical phenomenon that indicates the rising of a star. A star cluster or star constellation in the sky just before the sunrise. In the case of Matariki, it occurs in the beginning of the winter season, in late May or the beginning of June. Best remark as above indicates. 1. For example, how to determine the Maori year. On the east coast of the North Island, in which Matariki has said they have been celebrated with singing, dancing, and feasting, and also worship for the bountiful harvest of the coming year. This idea is said to have been shared in many other areas, as well as on the east coast, which is Ngāti Porou, Rotorua. Therefore, the definition of the Maori New Year will be expressed as above as general opinion. However, there were some differences regarding the timing of the beginning of the new year. People in some regions determined it as Matariki was first seen in the dawn sky. For some other regions in New York began with the appearance of the first full moon of Matariki rose, and the way the time of the new year is different from region to region. However, we may see the Matariki often occupied a key position as a mark of the year. In some limited areas, especially in the far north of the North Island, which is Ngāpui, where they're turning at 5262 Tiriti Writing Settlement, instead of the Ngāpui Settlement. They go back to the tangata whenua, to the Maori people of the land up north. Have you considered Paunga, the ringao, the mark of the new year after the Matariki? This case shows the difference regarding the hista of the beginning of the new year. However, the time of the new year is almost the same for both Matariki and Paunga, rise and dawn horizon, almost the same time. Matariki from the northeast and Paunga from the east, with reference to the significance of Matariki in the far north. According to best people, also paid much attention to Matariki as well as Paunga for agricultural reasons. This shows that Matariki was also important as a body even in the far north as well as in the areas. Considering the evidence above, we recognize that Maori people commonly be great and the weight on the cluster, Matariki in former days. We can say for sure that Matariki was our most representative astronomical body in Maori New Year season. 2. Matariki celebration. When Matariki rose from the northeastern horizon and dawn sky in the beginning of the winter, many Maori formerly had a custom of greeting, singing and dancing, which performed the parties of women, and the greeting was supposed to be done in two ways. A lamenting way for those who had died in the previous year, and joyful way for welcoming the New Year's. They enjoyed feastings in their family and relatives. According to some old informants on the east coast, some of Ngāti Porou, those cultural practices were continued by some families in the middle of the 20th century. Considering the formal greetings, Matariki in this context symbolizes the time of sharing, binomial oppositions such as oldness, new, death, living, sadness, joy, and so on. Though expressing a feeling of the two factors on the same thing, Maori people have been confirmed. Time flow have been conscious about the strong connection between their ancestors and the living, and shared their emotion. Maori people in such dual domains or the boundary at the same time in the Matariki season. Flying a kite was also said to have been done in the Maori New Year, and the symbolical meaning, as according to some old informants on the east coast, to connect the sky god Ranganui, the earth god Papatanuku, or to connect Matariki and Maori people. This also shows the Maori New Year season offers them a similar chance above the times connected in space between two, and also opportunity to confirm the strong relationships between them. This is another aspect of the celebration. The New Year season was regarded as a time of misrule and acts that will normally be acceptable or could not be punished. Example, a slave could lie for queen and not be punished. Less than Hall 2004. In other words, this period was a time in which all rule and contracts were usually restricted for people and now to be reversed. The situation undoubtedly applies to what Quora calls the case of commuters. The concept of commuters is characteristic of breaking the normal order. The time of releasing people from strict rules and contracts may be considered the same potential to satisfy their subconscious desires of the open discussion cultural factors. This custom is to be in practice in pre-European times. However, few detailed accounts can be found about it. Tohuru toru wha ono. Matariki as a food binger. It is no wonder the main concern for Maori was to obtain food. Matariki told people the beginning of the next cycle of getting food, and the cycle was equal to what we call year. Matariki in this context functioned as a resettler of the cycle of getting food and let people prepare the following cycle. Matariki was considered as a sort of forecaster or fortune teller for the conditions of the coming season. This is a curious example of folklore recorded by Best. If the stars of Matariki appear to stand wide apart, then a warm and bountiful season follows. But should have been seen close together in bitterkins, a cold season marked by scarcity. Another vision that of stars of the script and distinctly seen as there being heliacal rising, they seem to quiver or move a cold season follows. If they are plenty seen at the time, stand out distinctly, a warm, plentiful season ensures. Best April Ministers 2002. 50 parentheses full stop. There are examples on how to read Matariki. Matariki worked as a forecaster, open parenthesis, or a fortune teller, close parenthesis. The ocular condition Matariki tells condition of the coming season. This shows the Maori people wish Matariki for some mysterious aspects. Among the foods the Maori got, the kumara, the sweet potato, was the most important food for them. It was known that the kumara was introduced to New Zealand by the Maori from homeland somewhere in Polynesia. They empirically found in the timing of planting kumara. It was from the 4th to 16th lunar month, the Matariki-based year, different from region to region, which was approximately equal to from September to November. The Matariki-based calendar was particularly based by the Maoris to determine proper timing for the kumara planting each year. However, the kumara cultivation needed much care. Best knows the nature of the kumara as follows. The kumara is a plant of succulent nature and tender growth, liable to be injured by the buffeting of strong and cold winds. It's called food astronomy. This annual needs a suitable soil, a considerable amount of care and skills in cultivation, much more so than the common potato. Protecting the growth of the kumara directly and protecting the Maori life. As the kumara was sensitive to the climatic condition, the Maori needed some assistance in safe growth. Hakaria mentions when it was sprouted, it was necessary to ask for protection of the matariki so the crop would grow well. The ceremony was done with offering and giving of prayers. Matariki in this context functions as a great guardian in cultivation that guarantees the offer Maori food each year. The kumara was harvested in 10th Maori month, which is approximately equal to March 2012. The beginning of fall, be mindful of the region diversity, an adequate quantity of foods was stored at the time. When the Maori waited for the Matariki re-rising of the northeastern horizon and dawn sky, another aspect of the Maori celebration was characteristic of what we call Thanksgiving toward the Matariki. While works as a mark of the new cycle and obtaining food, a forecast for a fortune teller and the guardian. The survivable history of the Maori bears witness to strong connections with the reliable food bringer and Matariki in them. Variations of Matariki tales. There are many legendary discourses concerning Matariki. The precise number of Matariki tales cannot be counted. It is hard to imagine that some of them were not handed down to following generations at certain periods. However, some variations can be confirmed as follows. Matariki is 7 houses of God. People's spirits get to Matariki after death. Matariki is the eye of 7 chiefs. 7 chiefs keep their eyes on the Maori people. Matariki is the prow of the great canoe. Matariki is the klasa smashed by the god forest called Tane. The beautiful Matariki attract people as much that they made Tane jealous. Tane grasped Matariki in the sky and smashed over the cluster, still fascinating people. Matariki is a beautiful female or females. Matariki star cluster considered a beautiful singing female, or a star in the cluster is considered a woman called Matariki. The other six stars of her sisters and daughters named for each other. Those Matariki legends show how Maori people have been interested in the cluster of the former days, the existence of these variations. Allows us to notice a certain tendency. The more important or most fascinating one thing is for people, the more tales people create of much of fiction. There's no wonder that no matter what's important or familiar or fascinating to a large number of people, it's likely to describe or give special value in addition in its original property. From the point of view of sure that Matariki has been deeply related to the Maori people. The revitalization of the Maori year and Matariki will be in reviewing the former aspects of Matariki tradition and related customs. Most of the knowledge and the related cultural practices have disappeared in a long period, as Maori people have been assimilated to a Western culture for the most part. Naturally, Maori's intimacy with Matariki was given a long period. This chapter, the present writer is going to give light to the Maori New Year, new aspects of Matariki concept. Start of revitalization of the Maori New Year. Section refers to the background of the revitalization of Maori. New based on Matariki. The suggestion was given around 1990s by a Maori man called Canon Fute Hauhota, and was the most famous person of Ngati Hanguhungunu, the Hawke's Bay area. He died from a heart attack. However, still known as many people and speaking the deeds of humanity. His dedicated life as an Anglican minister, he struggled for the improvement of Maori rights in their lives. God save the Queen, the Crown. The work done for all his life was dedicated to them as they contributed to the revitalization of indigenous traditions. The history of New Zealand is well known as for Maori leaders of several denominations of Christianity, as well as some political leaders have some suggested cultural revitalization and committed themselves to campaigns. They sure that Can's suggestions of revitalizing Maori New Year was influenced by them. He was sure to make all Maori notice the importance of regaining a traditional Maori sense of values and coexistence of the Eurocentric sense of values. Unfortunately, he passed away from out seeing the revitalization of the Maori New Year in his own eyes. However, this has been passed down to the next generation. The Maori New Year has come to life around the year 2000. New cultural practice of Matariki tradition. The case of Te Papa Wellington is a national project. In the capital city of Wellington, Matariki events have been promoted in public space. 2002, made centered in the National Museum of New Zealand Te Papa. The New Zealand Herald was a nationwide newspaper. A report from follows the first time the National Maori of New Zealand Te Papa and Matariki activities led up in conjunction of Te Patawhiriti Te Mara Te Tarawhiri Te Reo Māori, Māori Language Commission. Te Papa is published in the book for Matariki, edition in conjunction with the Commission of the Education Ministry. Te Papa was published the Matariki calendar. Te Papa projected spreading nationwide has been aiming at familiarizing people with Matariki with the diffusion of the booklet, the Matariki calendar, and also a series of events held in Te Papa. Considering the context of the booklet titled Matariki, Aotearoa Pacificia, Te Tarawhiri Te Maori, Māori Language Commission 2005. We see it as designed as a Pacific Guide to Matariki and origins, significant opportunity to participate both in children and adults. The booklet lays special emphasis on how strong Matariki relates to people, which can be them to organize suitable ways to Maori, with the taking of the Maori and Matariki New Year into consideration. The recommended examples are briefly described as follow. 1. Make a wish for the new year when you see the new moon. 2. Call whānau and friends together the new moon to celebrate the new year. Toru. Organize a concert with the Matariki New Year. 5. Hold dance or a party. Pray a speech of farewell the old year and see the new ones. Build a kite. Brighten the first day of the year. Te Tarawhiri Te Maori Language Commission 2005. The concept of characteristics of easy involvement and having a fun individual level. The organizers know the fact that there are much difficulty in letting people think of the Matariki tradition today because of the formal knowledge and customs that disappearing a long time ago. Therefore, the suggestion now led to people practice New Year customs related in a formal way as a means of recognizing the essential Matariki concept. Te Papa also advises holding various kinds of events, series of celebrations. There are, for example, culture and musical performances, workshop discussions, style lab sessions, style guided tours, and some activities for children. These events last more than 2 weeks from the beginning of June, when the period in which Matariki appears. Te Papa welcomes the people interested in Matariki in the Maori New Year, according to one of the Te Papa staff, with attention has been paid to the Maori Matariki year by various people since Te Papa started those events. The participants and the audience in fact consist of various kinds of ethnic groups, ranging from Maori and non-Maori from the young to the old. The culture and musical performance are very popular among a series of events, and in a performance, famous Maori musicians and dance performers attract the audience there. The presentations are composed of an exuberant harmony of traditional and contemporary styles. Some musicians present the music from some form of instruments, such as a putatara, a conch or shell trumpet, a koao, a flute, porohua, a boroa, along with some modern instruments. Some dance groups present the crowd dance, a Maori weapon, such as a taia, and mele, short for weapon, over contemporary music. In the workshops and discussions, they cover aspects from general level to special level. Topics range over a wide variety of topics such as tradition, customs and horticulture, medicine, health, and language. Some scholars are Maori experts and invited, and participants are candidates in asking with regards to the Star Lab sessions or the Star Guided Tour. Te Papa works in conjunction with the Starson Observatory in Wellington. People can learn the stars of the Southern Hemisphere and astronomical knowledge of the Maori and the planetarium activities for children, such as the meanings as games, storytelling, making Matariki badges, and face painting. Those events in Te Papa take the current user situation into consideration. In other words, it does not mean the aim of those events will be bound on all formal traditions. We see the organizer put an emphasis on encouraging people to learn, familiarize themselves with more knowledge, customs, or value of much interest in the current New Zealand situation. And then I'll just skip to the conclusion because it's quite lengthy. And to conclude, this paper attempted to explore Matariki concept considering the both cultural practices based on the previous study and new practice of series of events and liberalized Maori New Year celebration. Today, Matariki concept is founded by the former Maori value. Given the present Maori value, Maori people have not come to a certain official point with their abused traditional assets, they was lost and try to get back to the form of newly recognized style and put under New Zealand situation. The recent movement at once makes estimates of looking back to former cultural assets, significance of opening the culture, leading us aware of multicultural coexistence. While we call indigenous cultures all over the world, the liable to support in the disappearance and influence of majority culture, however, under the strong wave of globalization, among them the globalization more near based on Matariki can show the dynamic flow with a new re-organized indigenous culture in the modern world. However, it started down from taking root in New Zealand. Continuous observation and research are needed. Hereafter, by the new Matariki concept as a cultural activity in Maori. Kia kaha, ngami, up the